Right, good morning. Here we are at the end of the first week in April 2024, and this project has been on the books for the last 2 or 3 years since the opening of the Burlington walk up there. This project is to reconstruct a miniature temple that used to exist in the park just over there. It was halfway up the bank, and it was reconstructed actually first time in that position by the same person who built and designed it, James Hookham, a master plasterer. And in 1895 he had had an exhibition with other workmen in the park called the Workmen's Fair to promote excellence in craftsmanship and local traders. And he built this temple at park level, and the Duke of Devonshire liked it so much he had it reconstructed halfway up the bank. And these bits still exist over there. What we wanted to do was to reconstruct it. And I used to play in this temple as a boy when this was Children's Corner. And I think that's what probably gave my interest in architecture. And when I went to architectural college, we had a project to draw up a local landmark in your hometown. This was in London. So I came back to Eastbourne, stayed with my parents, and did a very careful measured drawing. While I was doing the drawing, I noticed that the whole thing was swaying, and I spoke to the director of tourism, and he said, "I'm afraid we better get an engineer." And the engineer said, "It's just about to collapse due to rusting metal, it's got to come down." And it came down the next day. The parts were then put on the ground, hopefully, I was told, with a view to reconstruction. But when I came back from university 6 years later, everything was cleared away. And I've always thought it was a great shame, because it was a wonderful thing to have in the park. So the proposal now, on the 150th anniversary of the park, is to reconstruct the temple, and here it is. And lo and behold, look round here, we have T.E. Tilley Limited, local stonemasons from Brighton, who are doing this wonderful reconstruction. And here are the lads here. Come on, guys. Well done. Fantastic work they're doing here. And it's cast stone, specially cast to my drawings. And they are reconstructing it around a stainless steel frame, so it won't rust, because the old frame was steel and it lasted 100 years before it rusted away. This will hopefully last much longer. It's a tribute to the 7th Duke of Devonshire, who paid for this park, and we're renaming this the Burlington Bower. So we've reached quite an exciting stage because the columns are nearly finished, and as you see, my colleague here is just about to put on what's called a capital top, the top of the column. Thank you very much. That will go on the top, and then interestingly, the design of the building changes, because what's marvellous about this temple, it is a mixture of lots of different styles. At the bottom here we have what you might call European classical. By the time you got to the top, it's full of Eastern promise. It's very much in the sort of Indian style, like a pagoda. It's this mixture. In the Devonshire Park we had the Indian Pavilion, which was rebuilt from an exhibition that P&O had. We've got our wonderful pub called the Stage Door with its Indian domes. So this park encompassed the sort of world. This was the idea. We're talking about the age of empire here, of course, and it was influenced by the world, and that's what this perhaps represents. It's a little example. So we have had wonderful backing from the John Jackson Trust, a local charity, the Duke of Devonshire's Charitable Trust, and a lot of private donors, because due to the economic situation, the council have not been able to fund this project. So this is funded by the Eastbourne Society, who have drawn on local charities and people who wanted to help to raise money. And at the moment we are up to about £75,000 to rebuild it, and we've got about £10,000 needed to finish it all off, put the signage up and get everything completed. So if you were to come to the park, you can click on these codes here to donate. There's a box full of leaflets, and you can take a leaflet. But if you want to donate, that would be fantastic. And anybody or any charity that gives over £1,000 will have their name recorded on a plaque, which is going to be opened by Lord Burlington on the 26th of September this year, when he formally opens the Burlington Bower, followed by a sumptuous cream tea. So watch the local press for that. When he does the unveiling, it's going to then be called the Burlington Bower. And by the way, Lord Burlington will be the next Duke of Devonshire. That's how it works. So this is a construction being used. The column pieces are made in two halves. They're glued together using a special epoxy resin, which is being put on now, and then they're pointed up with the same mortar mix that's being used for the stone column, which is a mixture of Portland stone, Bath stone, it's a special aggregate, and lime mortar. So it's very much a conservation exercise. There are stainless steel pins you can see there which hold the whole thing together. Each course is rotated by 90 degrees, which forms a bond between one course and the next. So it's all been very carefully worked out with our consulting engineers, HTP, and all drawn up by HTP consulting engineers, very good consulting engineers locally, and drawn up by local architects, John D. Clark Architects. But lots of people have been involved. The steel frame has been constructed, stainless steel frame by the way, by EMS Limited. Wonderful job they've done. The retaining wall round the back is by Traditional Stone Limited, and the electrics by Walco Electrical, a local firm, and they've put in some recessed lights which are blue, so at night it looks as though the temple is floating on a blue lake. So in the middle of the temple we have this roundel with a stag's head, and this comes from the coat of arms of the Duke of Devonshire, the Cavendish crest, Cavendish coat of arms, and that's done in black granite and forms a central feature in the temple. Right, we are now at the site of the original temple. Actually, it was the second site. The first was in the park itself over there, and then the second site was halfway up the bank up here. So this was the base of the temple. And in that early shot that we looked at, you can see the shape that was originally here. That lovely shape we had. It's been filled in, unfortunately. I think it'd be nice sometime if it was restored to its original shape. And there's the date. 1896 was the erection date, a year after the great exhibition in the park for local traders. So 1895 it was first erected, and then James Hookham, the master plasterer, reconstructed it here. Now there is a bit of a debate about who paid for it and what happened, because when this was being demolished, one of the people found some bones and then a little bronze plaque, and apparently it was a Duke of Devonshire's dog, but unfortunately the plaques disappeared, so this is hearsay from probably about 40 years ago. But it's possible that the 8th Duke, by that time, 1896, might have paid for this as a mausoleum for one of his beloved dogs, well, which of course he would have had at Compton Place when he was staying at his family house over there. So a little bit of research needed to find out whether that is true, but that's what I've been told by one of the groundsmen here, who'd been told it by a previous groundsman, that this is what was found when they actually took the temple down, which would give a sort of reason for it to be here, and the reason for who paid for it to be relocated.